Okay guys, good evening everyone. That time of the year again, Tata Mumbai Marathon. This time registrations are seeing a very healthy increase. We're told that the full marathon registrations are 14,000, almost 14,000, reaching the 14,000 mark. And there's excitement in the air, palpable. And as if all this was not enough, there's a twist in the tail. There is a change in the route of both the full marathon and the half marathon. So we're going to kind of revisit, each section of this race from the beginning, that is from CSMT, all the way back to Bombay Gymkhana or OCS Chowk, as the case may be for the full marathon or the half marathon. And we're just going to kind of walk through the route so that people who are running for the first time or repeat people who are coming back, both of them get to benefit from this. So we hope that you find this session really useful and it helps you come race day. So having said that, let's cut to the chase. We start from the race starts from the Mahanagar Palika Marg, the full marathon that is, starts from the Mahanagar Palika Marg just outside the Chhatrapati Shivaji terminus. No change there, and it just kind of takes the natural course around the Oval Maidan, and then finds its way onto the Veer Nariman Marg and on to the Marine Drive basically. Now in previous editions what has happened is that this section that we are, and you can see that we are also showing you the route as we speak so that you get a better idea of what we're talking about. In previous editions, this Madame Cama Road, that is this section that you see, in some editions it was off, in some editions it was on, but I think this year they've gone back to the OG route now that most of the construction work is over. So you have the Madame Cama Road, and then you take the final U-turn at the NCPA, and then you do that one long run along the Marine Drive. So nothing much has changed on this stretch. People who've done the previous editions would be familiar with this, right? This is a relatively uneventful section of the race. The weather is good, you have people around you. Just one thing, be a little careful when you start basically. 14,000 marathon runners, even though they are going to have wave starts, and Procam has learnt a lot, so I'm sure they're going to put all that learning there, but just be careful in the first few kilometers, and then you should be good to go in the early morning basically. So this will take us all the way up to Chowpatty, Girgaon Chowpatty, and then from Babulnath you basically start the climb, right? You start a gentle climb, which then you see the first major climb around the 10th kilometer basically, the Peddar Road on the way up. Fresh legs in the morning, so you won't really feel it. And there will be some crowd support over here, right? People in the vicinity come out and cheer you early in the morning basically. So I have my team, Karthik Nadar, the local guy, Aditi and Arvind. Guys, until this section, is there anything you want to add basically?
Okay, so I want to add something for all the runners who are actually going to run the race. One message: at least come 1 hour before the race, and especially if you have a baggage drop, because the previous few edition I've struggled with the submission of baggage. Especially there used to be big queue, so be there early, at least an hour before you are inside the ground. And okay, so once you start, I think the early waves are largely sorted this year, but you will still feel that crowd at least for the first 1-2 kilometers, depending on your wave. Example, I have been in a wave, but even then I struggle. Especially, I feel better only after the oval loop. And from there, the previous couple of editions I have not run on the Madame Cama Road, so which is an exciting addition again back this year, because again like we'll get to see the SBI Bhavan, which looks fantastic, and the Mantralaya, which is the administrative office of the Maharashtra government. And after that, it's going to be the a familiar route, especially if you're a local Mumbaiker, like we train like honestly every weekend on that route, so it's very familiar until the Babulnath temple. So it's a largely familiar route.
Right, right. So yeah, I think that's a good point. Please pace yourself a little judiciously in the first few kilometers. There will be a lot of crowd, even though there are wave starts. Okay, so moving on. Once you cross the Peddar, so there is a gentle uphill from Babulnath all the way till Peddar. You can see on the map, and after the Kemp's Corner, right? Around that place where we are showing in the map is where you will see a solid, so that's the Kemp Corner flyover basically, and then when you go further down you will have a good downhill basically, right? There's a good short but sharp downhill. Now be careful here, because what happens is, especially for people who are in the back of the pack, there's a lot of people who will be drinking water in the morning, and then there's going to be a little bit of fluids or water lying on the road. People tend to slip in this part of the road. Just coast on this section. It's still early days in this race, and there's still a lot of running to be done. This is the first section. I'd like to pause here and hand it over to my team here. Any other inputs, guys, you want to give here before we go on to the next section?
Just any idea on how do you pace the first for the first 12 kilometers for a fresh runner? Like if I'm running for the first time, what would you advise me?
This is the initial kilometers and mostly flat, so there will be tendency to run fast because of adrenaline, all the start rush. So I think this is the part where one has to control their pace, uh, ensure that they're getting into the rhythm slightly, slowly than trying to rush into it. So if your overall marathon pace, goal pace is say 6 minutes, so ensure that you're slightly over 6 minutes, like 6:05 or 6:02, and then gradually go your way up to six.
Just one thing to add on electrolytes and gels. So if you have trained throughout your training sessions in long runs to take gels at a certain interval, say 6 kilometers, 7 kilometer, just stick to the plan, and keep hydrating. When we say hydrating, keep sipping water. There will be hydration stations every second or the third kilometer. So be watchful, as Karthik mentioned earlier, that there can be spillage.
So, thank you, Aditi. And
Also one more question. Also one more question, like if anyone can answer, like how do I approach the first climb of the Games Corner, followed by the Peddar Road? Like how close do I keep it to my race pace?
So I can go ahead. Go with the feel. The more you look at the watch, the more anxiety will build in you.
summarize this section. Madame Cama Road is an addition. All those that construction that was going on in South Mumbai is all done, so we have good roads to run on. First 2 kilometers, regardless of which wave you are in, is going to be a little crowded. After that, the field opens up. Bisleri, fast and up, both of them are going to have. You're going to be adequately sourced in terms of energy drinks and water in this section. So don't fret on that. Conservative, it's okay if you are a little conservative in this section, right? You have plenty of time to make up for that. That is the summary of this first section till about 12 kilometers basically. Okay, now moving on to the next section. Now here is where the fun begins. Here is where the route has undergone a change. As you can see, after the 12th kilometer, as you come down towards Haji Ali, right, you encounter the first clover, what is called as a clover, and you climb a ramp onto the coastal road. Now this is a completely new edition. This was never there in previous editions. This is the first time Mumbai is actually introducing it. Very exciting, and we're really looking forward to runner feedback on how this is going to be. A few Instagram videos we've seen.
Can I just add one point, Karthik?
Sure, please.
Can I just add one point? Because since like I think even last year the coastal road was already there, like when the race was there, and since last year we have been getting these questions, like even we and also on the official Mumbai Marathon page, that will there be an addition of coastal road? Will there be an additional coastal road? I have personally got this a lot, and finally we have.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Just an interesting aside here, right? Before we get back into the route, I was kind of talking with some people, and we agreed on one point. I think the Mumbai Marathon now is a fantastic blend of tradition and modernity. The first 12 kilometers, like Karthik was telling us, there are so many landmarks. There's Brabon, there's Wankhede, there's the SBI Bhavan, there's Mantralaya, there's Babulnath, all the all that Mumbai has stood for over so many years. And now with this new thing, it's a fantastic blend of modernity and tradition. So I think kudos to the organizers for adding this in. Okay, now coming back to the point. Here is where the route changes. You take that as we are pointing out. You take that ramp on the clover onto the coastal road. Now this is going to be, and Karthik, I'll need your help over here. This is going to be a gentle uphill, or is it going to be a slightly steady kind of an uphill that will take the runners onto the coastal road?
It's a pretty gentle climb. It's like a car parking in a parking lot sort of thing, like in a shopping mall complex kind of thing. Like you just very sharply climb like this,
okay,
and you'll get there.
Fantastic. Okay, so then you get onto the coastal road, and then for the next almost about 3.5 kilometers, right? 3 to 3.5 kilometers, you are literally running on the coastal road. So some sections you are running over the sea, some sections you are running right next to the sea. There is a ramp in between. We would urge you to look at that video that Procam has shared. I think they've done a commendable job there in terms of showing where the ramps
Yeah.
are, and how this new section is going to be. By and large, initial initial recce reports from runners today seem to suggest that the coastal road is undulating in nature. Nothing killer in terms of incline, but then not flat either. Basically, it is in a way it is
Yeah.
probably an extension of the Bandra Worli ceiling. Basically, so what you do over the ceiling, you are kind of doing it a little earlier in the race, right? I'm going to pause here, guys. You want to add anything, Arvind? You want to add anything in terms of how runners? This is an unknown for us, but even then, how do you think runners should approach this section?
Yeah, so I would take the same approach as ceiling in the sense that one is it's undulating and second is the wind factor. So the wind factor being most likely the wind is from north to south. So that means it is a headwind or maybe slightly angled, but more or less headwind. So try to cover yourself or try to ensure that you're not fully affected by the wind. And given that wind adds additional effort, so you have to extremely careful on the effort that you're putting on this particular section. Um, and I think in my view, this is the most trickiest section to pace because your legs are still fresh and there is a challenge that is thrown at you. So
Right.
you've got to ensure that you're not overdoing the challenge. Uh, ensure that you're trying to kind of manage the challenge, but at the same time, don't overdo it.
I think a couple of great points you make there, which I'm going to deconstruct. One is, it is still, guys, we keep saying this again and again because it's the fact. It is still early days in the race, right? This is still, you've not even reached the halfway mark yet. And one hack that me and Karthik Nada tried back in 2023 was, this would be an excellent place to bunch up with a group of runners who are running at a similar pace. See, this section can get a little boring, right? It can get a little monotonous and it can get a little boring. I'm confident it will be well lit, so I don't think you'll have any problem in terms of lighting on this section. But then, like Arvind said, headwinds, and we don't know the elephant in the room, humidity, how the weather is going to turn out that day, basically, right?
Yeah.
So this could be a great section where you kind of join a bunch of runners. Don't fret over it, but if you can just hold on to a couple of runners from here until the end of ceiling, if you can just hold on to a pace group or a group of runners who are running at your pace, it really makes your job easier. And if you want to be a little smart about it, stay behind a taller runner, basically. Let him do the work, let him or her do the work in terms of taking the headwind, basically, right? Don't quote us on that, but usually that's one of the hacks that runners do. Or you can kind of if you're in a group, you can kind of take roles, basically, right? You can head for some time and then let somebody else. So basically work as a team through this entire section from about, let's say, the 13th, where you get onto the coastal road and until the end of the Bandra Worli Sea Link, right? And one more thing, based on experience, I'm going to tell you this, because we haven't run on the coastal road, but what used to happen in previous editions is, when you get onto the Bandra Worli Sea Link, for the first kilometer or so, you will feel that I am putting in the effort, but it's very difficult. And that is very discouraging in nature. So don't fret over it. Yes, this is a challenging section. It is undulating, there are headwinds, you will feel that I'm putting in the effort, but the outcome is not there. But recently a movie, I mean, everybody knows about it. There is basically a movie called Dhurandhar that has come. There's a lovely dialogue that they make there. Nazar or Sabr. So this section is all about Nazar or Sabr. Nazar means keep your eyes open. Sabr means be patient, right? So Nazar and Sabr should be your priority in this particular section. Yeah, Aditi or Karthik, you want to add anything further on this section?
Yeah, so from Nazar and Sabar, I can say that there will be, right? Like when I just saw that there is a change in the route. The first thing was that how will I combat or how will I process on the unknown? So
Right.
the word combat, you don't have to combat. You just have to process in your head that you have trained for it, and the way Karthik said, that have patience and trust your training. Bunch up with friends, tall, short, strides, cadence, everything will start playing on your mind. But at the end of the day, you are running this race. So ensure that whatever the plan is, you are executing as per the plan and not going by somebody else's cadence or somebody else's height or somebody else's stride, right? It is your race. The race has not started yet. You are yet to go to the 21st kilometer. which is a halfway mark.
Excellent point. And one more input I just want to add here. This is around the section, I don't know how they're going to do it on the coastal road, but usually around Bandra Worli Sea Link is when you start getting those sponges basically, right? Those wet sponges, which can be very, very useful, right? You can put it around your neck, you can put it, wherever you start feeling a little crampy, start using those sponges, right? And the other thing is one experience here, which, no amount of money in the world can buy. If you are really, getting a little distracted here and there, just hear the sea waves basically crashing gently against the bridge on the sea link, and probably before that. It's a very therapeutic experience. So guys, these are the experiences that we've had running this race over multiple editions. So these are some things that you can do to kind of distract yourself, because this section, in our opinion, is going to be a little monotonous. And at the same time, it's going to be a little challenging. So if you can kind of, and like Arvind rightly said, it's still early days in the race, right? So from 13 till about 20, till about 20, it's about 6.5 to 7 kilometers. Just bunch up and put your head down and get this done with. Yeah. Anything else, guys?
So I am the elephant in the room who is actually going to run this race. Especially run the full marathon. And honestly, before this edition, how I used to pick up the race was like when I am running the Peddar downhill. That is when I pick a rhythm, which I maintain it till the start of the Bandra Worli Sea Link. So this year, I obviously have a different plan now, because now I have to run basis effort until I am at the middle of the sea link. But then, like rightly said by all of you, so the coastal road I have run on that, on the new promenade which they have built, and it's largely undulating, but it's flat. It's not like it goes up like all the way, say for a kilometer or something. It just goes like 100-meter up, 100-meter down, that way. But then, like Arvind already initially spoke about the headwind, that is something I always struggle with the coastal road, and that is one reason why I always hesitate to run there, except if I want to do an easy run. But if I want to do a workout, I always hesitate, even though I have done, because I felt the a ceiling is there in the course, so I need to train for it. But now I got a bonus. I'm not running a 5 kilometer just on the ceiling, but I'm going to run 8.5 kilometer on or next to the Arabian Sea, which means I'm going to run all these kilometers with headwind or at least crosswind, whatever, which is going to obviously increase my effort. So I'm going to hold on my horses until this part. I don't think I don't have any other option. Otherwise, I'll definitely bonk at the end of the race. So I'm going to hold on. Like you guys have already said, this is just half the race, and I know if I'm strong enough, and if I basis my training, I know I can push in the second half of the race.
Excellent. Yeah. So okay. So now we come off the sea link. Here you get for all the effort you put till kilometer 20, from around kilometer 20, right? You get a gentle downhill basically all the way till the sea link toll basically, right? Almost till the sea link toll. So here again we would say coast, right? Yeah, there we are showing you that. Coast again here, don't do something adventurous. Okay, this is still the halfway mark of the race. Don't say, oh, I lost time on the coastal road, here is where I'm going to make up. No, then you're going to really bonk out later. Coast, go with the flow, coast. And these are sections where you largely can basically just coast, keep going in your flow, stick to the plan basically. If you have so in fact, Arvind, I want to pick your brain on this. See, largely from here, there's not much of a change. It's like the previous editions, but having run till about the halfway mark, right? That's a seminal point in a marathon. So once they cross the halfway mark, how should they pace themselves for the next few kilometers? Let's say till about 24 or 25 kilometers. How would you want the runners to pace themselves?
So here is where I think, assuming that you had a steady run at a pace that an effort that is manageable, and you feel strong, but at the same time you're not fully challenged. I think this is the place to start going towards your goal effort. You still feel strong at this point because you're not really put all the effort yet. So I think so. If, for example, the goal pace is 6 minutes, this is the point you should kind of going around 6 minutes, like 6, 5:58, 5:59, 5:55, whatever comes in, because there are sections that are like downhill here. Like for example, this ramp as you go down from 22nd kilometer, it's an excellent place to pick up some pace. There's one other change here, is that Karthik, you want to talk about the change first?
Then I think that's a great point. So because of this whole coastal road introduction, What used to happen in previous editions was when we didn't have the coastal road, we used to do this, we used to do this jalebi kind of a thing here, right? From after the toll, you used to go all the way a kilometer, take a U-turn, come back to the toll, then again take a U-turn, again go back. So basically that was a downhill, steady uphill, then again a steady downhill, and then you get off the Mahim Causeway. That's how it used to happen. Luckily that is off. Now with the coastal road in, you are just having one straight road to run basically all the way to the Mahim Causeway, right? That is the major change because of the coastal road. So two changes so far. One is the Madame Cama Road is back onto the course, and then we're going all the way to NCPA, taking a U-turn and coming back. The second major change is this jalebi business that we used to do over here is out basically. Yeah, Arvind.
Right. So so this is a gentle ramp down to Mahim Causeway. So I think after you cross the toll, I think this is the time to pick up a bit of pace. Again, don't go all out, but I think this is the time to pick up the pace so that you're going closer to the goal pace or slightly above the goal pace. And from this section, I think this is the section also. In fact, the whole ceiling section, you'll see a lot of half marathon runners, and I'm assuming you will continue to see the half marathon runners because there are a lot of waves that will be there on through. So
Even on the coastal road. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Coastal road, I
I'm
doubt.
not sure
Okay,
about the
yeah.
coastal
Okay.
road.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
think,
Not really.
huh.
No. Sorry, my bad. No. My
No,
bad.
no,
No.
yeah. I think
In that case,
mostly,
in that case, we will not see. In that case, we will not see half marathon runners.
yeah, you won't see much, but like Arvind says, probably what will happen is
Yeah.
towards the beginning of Sea Link, you might see some of the back of the pack half marathon runners as they make their way
Yes.
out towards INS
Yes.
Tata, right? And you are coming
Yes. Correct.
onto the Bandra-Worli Sea Link. And
Right.
just to add to what Arvind
Right.
said, I think that's a nice downhill section all the way almost until the 23rd-ish kilometers, and there is a point where Procam usually puts a timing mat and an arch kind of a thing basically, right? There will be a red carpet, there will be an arch. It's done in a fairly grand way, in a fairly elaborate way. To add to what Arvind said, I think that is around the 23 to 24 kilometer mark. That should be the point from where you should really start thinking about, okay, now I've done the
That is
initial,
precisely that marker.
exactly, I've sit back, okay, that's the marker, excellent. That is this is the
Yeah.
point where
Yeah.
you should really now start thinking, okay, now I have the momentum with me. If you've paced yourself sensibly until here is where you start picking up and start thinking about your goal marathon pace and getting there. And the other good thing I wanted to add over here, because we're going to kind of pause at 24 and then take the next section, but usually from here onwards is where crowd support starts coming in. On the coastal road, on Bandra-Worli Sea Link, you don't really have much of crowd support. It's going to be the volunteers, and at the toll, it's going to be the toll employees. But once you take that right off in fact, once you cross the toll and start running towards the Mahim Causeway, slowly crowd support will start building in. The children around that area will be, giving you high fives and all that. So the crowd starts building in from here. So this will be a great point for you this is a good point of inflection on this race where you can really, start switching gears basically and getting closer to that goal marathon pace. Aditi, you want to add something here?
So, as we are talking about a 4-hour marathon runner, by now the sunrise would have taken place, right? And because by now it will be 7, crowd support will be there. Also, if you look at yourself as a machine or as an engine, because you will be working with that precision. You would be running at gear 3 and you would be looking at moving to a gear 4, right? So you are still not a full-fledged gear 5, but gear 4 is that you are taking energy from the crowd, you are actually taking energy from all the patience that you have shown till the 23rd kilometer, and you say, okay, now I'm going to itch and I'm going to get into my threshold pace, right? So you will start moving closer to your threshold pace. Yeah.
No. And okay, so to summarize, this is the point where you really should start switching gears basically, but again, do it a little carefully, because, and largely see, once you cross the Bandra-Worli Sea Link, in fact, once you get onto the Bandra-Worli Sea Link, from there until here, there's no major change, except that one change we said, the jalebi is gone basically. It is largely a straight route basically, right? And what follows after this, in spite of all the crowd support and everything, from 24, so we'll probably move on to the next section, unless you guys have anything more to add?
No.
Okay, so let's move on to the next section. From 24 till about 30, that is the Worli Dairy U-turn, there is not much of a change in terms of the route. But I love to refer to this section of the route as the no man's land. Yes, there is crowd support. Yes, dawn has broken by now. Yes, you've been running for a couple of hours, like Aditi said. But you have to be. This is literally the make or break section of this race. Here, the body, because now you've started shifting gears. Somewhere in this section, the body will definitely start asking questions of you, right? You will start feeling the effort. You will start feeling the effort here, and especially if the weather is going to go a little, here and there, you will start feeling the effort. Again, I come back to the same point: nazar or sabr. You have to just hold it back. You have to just hang in here, basically. Again, if you can bunch in with a couple of runners of similar pace, that will be a great thing to do. This section is not, compared to what you would have faced in the previous sections to reach this point, this section is relatively flat, basically. It is not very undulating, it is relatively flat. And Karthik Nadar, if I'm right, all the construction work on this section is now done, basically, right? You don't have any significant detours
Yeah.
like what we used to
Yeah.
have. So it's a largely flat section. Derive
Nothing.
derive energy from the crowd outside Shivaji Park. There will be people who will make you feel like a rock star outside Shivaji Park. Mumbai police, I have to really say this here. Mumbai police will be, there will be people from Mumbai police, people of all ranks who will be basically cheering you, and the kids of Mumbai. So, long story short, derive energy in this particular section. Arvind, you want to add anything in terms of pacing? Because this literally, I feel, is a make or break section of this race.
Yeah, you pretty much said it, and nothing much to add. But just one big change is that suddenly the scenery changes. You've been in a part of the segments so far slightly wider, and then there is nothing much to look around. So it feels a lot more, spacious. But suddenly, as you come in here, you will sulk a bit because there are roads and there are people, there are buildings around you. So it'll take probably a bit of time to kind of get adjusted to it. And as Karthik said, this is one of the toughest section. Personally, I found it tough to face this section. It's not because of the elevation, it's not because of the wind, but it is because of the where it comes in the race, I think. And then also I personally felt, it's a lot more sulkier because of the atmosphere around it. Suddenly you change the scenery is completely different. So I think that is the one thing to look after. Otherwise, in my view, you should, if you have to advise, I think you should continue with your goal pace, maybe slightly faster. But yeah, that's about it. Nothing much to other than that to talk about.
And just a quick addition here, thanks Arvind. Just a quick addition here. So you saw the modern part of Mumbai. This is the tradition part of Mumbai. This is the beauty of the Mumbai Marathon. It marries the modern with the tradition. Okay, so going forward, you reach
I
the
think,
yeah.
Karthik,
Go
Karthik,
ahead.
I think, Karthik, I think I am the only person who probably loves this part of this segment because I feel the Mumbai Marathon for me as a Mumbaiker starts from Mahim because that is where I am seeing the city. I see it as every day, like the crowd, the buildings, like everything. So, like example, like there's Mahim Dargah, Mahim Church, Shivaji Park. Shivaji Park is going to have a lot of family members of runners who are on Dadar and all. Like they are going to come there. I think last year we had a Nike zones there. I'm not sure what's going to happen this year. Then there is the a Siddhivinayak temple, which is like a massive drop point. Like I'm sure everyone is going to pray there and just going to stride forward. Until the Worli Dairy, I think like this is the best part of the race as a Mumbaiker who is not based out of South Bombay. So
Right.
this is like a proper Mumbaiker race for me.
And Karthik
And
Nadar,
this is where honestly
Yeah.
I have, always raced well here, personally speaking.
I
Like this is
actually
the best
wanted
part of race for me.
I wanted to go back to the 2023 edition where you really became a hero over here to pay the
Yes,
price later. So anything
yes,
you want to tell the runners about
yeah,
here?
yeah.
So one thing, okay.
So I think like Arvind,
So as a runner, this
yeah,
is
Aditi.
a equalizer. Okay, this is an equalizer, and it will test your mind over matter, right?
Exactly.
Over your legs. So whether you like it or not, this is a place you will pace with high precision, with a way where you will say that your emotions will not take better of you, and it will be, all the training will come here. Whoever crosses this, and this is Mumbai, right? This is the real Mumbai. You will uh, it will equalize, and all the changes. If somebody overtakes you here, that means that person has stability and has controlled emotions. So be stable, just have that precision of a machine, and do not get your emotions get better of you, right? You still have one third of the race pending. You still have your last moments of heroic moments pending. So hang on, hang in there.
Exactly. I think it's a great.
This is the lesson I learned. This is the lesson I learned.
I think that's a great point to summarize. I think if you can, thank you Aditi for leading us to that, Aditi and Karthik. I think if you can reach that U-turn point at Worli Dairy, which is the 30th kilometer, on strong legs, and by strong I mean not like what you would have felt at the 15th, but you feel that at the 30th kilometer, if you feel good about yourself at the 30th kilometer, right? I think you have this race in the bag. That is a great checkpoint here, right? If you can reach the Worli U-turn point feeling that I'm feeling good, you feel good, then I think then you have this race in the bag. That's a great checkpoint basically. Okay, so to summarize, no man's land, right? From 24 you start pushing, you start getting onto your goal marathon pace. No man's land, lot of crowd support, but don't get carried away. Put your head down basically, soak in the energy, and reach the 30th kilometer feeling good actually. That's our advice for this section. No major changes here. Okay. Now, after that Worli U-turn point, again we get onto the coastal road. We run a little further, and then what is it? Around the 31st kilometer is where we get onto the coastal road. After the 30th, I think we take the ramp again, right? We go ahead. Can we move the map a little further down to show that U-turn point basically? Okay, so now if we move the map up a little, yeah, you can see after. Can we show the Worli Dairy U-turn point once basically? Okay, there it is. So you negotiate that. So this is where we said, you should feel really good about things. Well, you should feel good, yeah. And then from here you start running back towards the coastal road. So this is again the change in the route. Before we used to, Karthik Nadar, I would want you to take it over. Before what happened and what is changed now basically?
So before this used to be the 32nd kilometer precisely,
Okay.
and from there we used to proceed straight, but take a left towards the animation road, from where we take a U-turn, and then we used to head back towards Atria, the Mahalakshmi race course and everything,
Okay.
to get back to Haji Ali and all. So that segment is now gone.
That segment is now gone. Instead, what's happening is after 30, you take a
Now
U-turn
gone.
point. You take a U-turn after that point, and then you again get onto a clover basically. You get onto a ramp, and you get onto the coastal road again. So this happens around the 31st kilometer. From 30 till about 31, you are negotiating your entry back onto the coastal road, as we are showing you right now on the satellite image, right? This is again, okay, and Karthik Nadar, again, I want you to take it away from here basically. Walk us through the next few kilometers. Is it going to be an upward ramp? Is it going to be, how is it
So
going to be as you make your way back?
So it's flat between 31st to 32. There's a small ramp at 32nd kilometer.
Okay.
And after that, there is an additional climb towards 33 kilometers something before we exit from the coastal road. So
Okay.
it's largely flat except for a ramp. Yes. And then we start climbing just like the ceiling wala climb, right? It's not that harsh. But then you're going to climb, you're going to actually feel it because you're already exhausted. And then again, you're going to come down like a U-turn is there, right? Like you're going to take that U-turn, come down, and exactly at the, so there's this bus stop of a Nehru Planetarium. That is where we are going to take a U-turn again.
Okay. So, okay, thank you. So,
At
Arvind,
the NSCI Dome Junction, yeah.
you can see the NSCI dome over there. Yeah, thank you. So,
Yeah.
Arvind, I want you to chime in over here. So, how should runners really pace themselves in this section?
So this section, in my view, will be the most challenging section since nobody has run yet, so we would not know how it really feels. But I think a couple of things to watch out. One, if you are a slow runner, then this section is where the sun will start hitting you, right? Because there are no trees and there's nothing around. The good part would be that there might be a tailwind, which might help. But at the same time, that might be offset by the sun and a bit of humidity because you're just on the side of the sea. But otherwise, this section I also feel will be a little tough to go because when you're running in a closed environment like in the older course, you might feel things move faster because you're seeing things moving away from you as you run.
Yes.
But here, since it is
hmm
monotonous. It might feel a lot more tougher, especially at this stage of the race. So we are talking about 32nd kilometer, which is 20th mile, right? 20th mile is the magical mile where you start seeing things which otherwise you would not have noticed so far. So, so I think this is you have to give the best, but at the same time, this is not all out section yet. The good thing would be that the road is much straighter compared to the earlier section where you had to take a U-turn and come back and all that. So at least here there is not that part. But to compensate that there is a small ramp that you need to take before you join back the Lala Lajpat Marg, right? So uh, at the Dome Stadium. So those are the things that you need to consider. Yeah, but I think the real test is yet to start. So this is
Absolutely.
not the end of it yet.
So yeah, I think that's a great point. That's a great segue point that you made. Yeah, Karthik, you want to add something?
Yeah, so just one point about the coastal road is that the roads are good. They're asphalt roads. They're and they're good quality roads so far. They are not a concrete roads like the patch between the Mahalakshmi and the Worli Dairy. So like just wanted to update on that.
Yeah, so I think that's a great point. You get good roads here basically to run on now. But definitely, like Arvind said, this section is an unknown. For all of us, it's an unknown because we haven't. Maybe next year we'll have more, data that we can share. But at least
Yes,
as of now,
like
it's
more experience as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So basically, right. So that's one thing that you need to take care. And like Arvind again said, I think you've still not come to the magnum opus of this route, right? The Peddar is still waiting for you, basically, on the other side of that Lala Lajpat Rai College and Jasloke, basically. So again, we would say the best way to approach this section would be to actually bunch up with a group of similar paced runners, right? And don't overdo yourself in this section. Sometimes after 32, what happens is we realize we might not be on course for our target pace, and we tend to do things which will eventually you still have 10 kilometers to run. The good news or the bad news is that you still have 10 kilometers to run to get to the finish line, right? So
just
yeah,
one thing,
yeah, please.
Karthik, before we move is because we don't want to do anything silly after the 32nd kilometer, we have to be conscious for the first 32 kilometers, right?
Absolutely,
So all
absolutely.
the conversations, all the holding of paces, knowing your training, how you are doing your tempos, intervals, hill runs, downhills, humidity, everything will play till 32. The
Correct.
moment of truth and you will be addressing a lot of things will be after 32, right? So your fifth gear is yet to be changed. You are
Absolutely.
still not there yet. You are still preparing for the last 10 kilometers. The first 32 kilometers you run to prepare for the last 10 so that you go all out, right? So
Absolutely.
patience again.
Same thing comes back to Nazar and Sabar again. I know I'm sounding a little trite now.
Uh,
And one thing that
I don't think there is any a fifth gear when you run the Mumbai Marathon.
Oh,
true,
you
true,
It,
true.
it is gonna
yeah.
be stuck at four.
You
It
have
is going to
no
be.
idea. There will be people who will be saying the last 4 kilometers were like my negative splits. I'm waiting for those,
Yeah,
No,
those
that,
numbers to
of
come
course,
up.
that will happen. But
I
I,
hoping someday. Yeah,
no, I think there are already some runners who do that, and I'm sure we'll have stories like that, like
yeah,
Aditi
yeah, yeah.
says. But one point I think for the larger audience, one thing we definitely would want to say is this is also the point where you start counting down the kilometers.
Yeah.
Go into the single digits. As you say,
Yeah.
10, 9, 8, it really empowers you to say there's just 8
Nine
more
to go.
kilometers, 7 more to go, 6 more to go.
Yes.
So yeah, I think long story short, again a ramp, again about 2.5 to 3 kilometers of coastal road running. Two and a half, I think, before 31 till about 33, 30, almost till 30, 34, where you basically exit it and then come on to the Lala Lajpat Rai College, and then it's again there's nothing, no major change after that basically. Then it is again you get on to Just
Yeah.
Loke, and here is where the Peddar comes basically. So here definitely, given all the running you've done so far, you will have to bide your time. The good thing with Peddar basically is the first section again. Peddar is not a killer unto itself. It is where Peddar comes basically. And now more than ever, where Peddar comes, that is really going to test you out. So be patient on the initial uphills on Peddar up to, I would say, up to the Kemp's Corner flyover. Be patient. The good thing is, again, as you come off Coastal Road, there's going to be a lot of crowd support on Peddar, right? There's going to be that Japanese group who I love basically. They're going to be there. The Indo-Japanese Cultural Center guys are going to be there. They're going to be so many other, and now, with so many other new running groups coming up, there's going to be so many people on Peddar. So Peddar is where you completely soak the energy, It will be a suffer fest, but just suffer through it basically. Suffer, do the suffer, take the suffer through the suffer basically until that Kemp's Corner flyover. After Kemp's Corner flyover, you get a lovely gentle downhill all the way up to Babulnath. Here, we would advise don't no fifth gear business here. A lot of runners do the mistake of really getting onto a fifth gear over here, and then you pay the price on the Marine Drive basically, right? So coast, again we would say the same thing, coast that entire downhill section from let's say around the Hanging Gardens, around the Kemp's Corner flyover, all the way till Babulnath, until where you get back to Girgaon Chowpatty. Arvind, you want to add anything over here?
Yeah, I think yeah, this is the toughest in terms of the race, both physically and mentally. And the last marathon I ran here, I walked, so I can say this is the toughest. Yeah, I mean, don't worry because a lot of people will be walking along with you, so so that way it is not a bad thing to walk here. Yeah, but this is the also the hallmark of Mumbai Marathon in terms of crowd support, right? So this section. So if you are walking, just enjoy the best part of the Mumbai Marathon. But if you are running, this would be mentally the toughest part to run because the hill that you see and the people walking around, the crowds can make it difficult to actually continue. A lot of times it feels like you've got to stop because of the kind of work that you had already put in, and then more work to be done. So the mentally, I would say it is very challenging not to stop here. But if you can ensure that you can go through this section, pace yourself, even if it means that you're off the goal pace, you should not be worried. I think the goal here should be to continue as much as possible without dropping too much pace, right? So say if you're 6-minute pace, see if you can do 6:15, 6:20 as much as possible, 6:30 maybe, right? But the closer to the goal pace, the better. But so challenge yourself, dig deep, and ensure that you are able to kind of smartly go over this section till Babulnath.
And keep reminding yourself that once you cross that small flyover on Kemp's Corner, you have a gentle downhill where you can really recover. It's almost a kilometer plus thing until Girgaon Chowpatty, and it's not such a bad idea to probably grab a Coke bottle or an orange juice or something that's available on Peddar basically. Especially a Coke bottle is a lifesaver in this section basically, right? So pick that up. And then you negotiate that final turn onto the Marine Drive, back through Girgaon Chowpatty. You come back onto the Marine Drive basically, right? At this point, I think you still have about 5 kilometers to go. This is around the 37th kilometer, if I'm not wrong, basically. 30.
Yeah.
So you still have 5 kilometers to go, right? Largely flat section, but boy, by now, I mean, you've done so much of running by now. The sun is out, but chances are, by and large, the sun is out, right? This section it will really test you basically. The best way to eat an elephant is to cut it into small pieces and eat it. That comes true in this section. These 5 kilometers, think about it every kilometer. Yeah, Karthik, go ahead.
Karthik, can I just go back to the previous segment? So I have a question. Like, I am on the top of Peddar,
Exactly.
Which means near, like at the signal. See, there's one signal near Antilia.
Right.
From there, it's kind of downhill, a little uphill,
Correct.
a little bit with a downhill again,
Correct.
and then there's this Kemp's Corner flyover.
Correct.
Once, so in between this, I have always been through this. Like there'll be a lot of water down, especially through the half marathon runners and all the marathon runners who actually went ahead of you.
Exactly.
You need to be really careful in this segment. Because this is very slippery and with a lot of folks wearing a carbon-plated shoes. Like you got to be really careful when you're running on this patch. And secondly, just one correction, like when we are getting down from the Kemp's Corner, to example, say Babulnath, it's about a 400-500 meter. It's not a kilometer.
Okay.
But how do I pace this segment? Because I know I can push, but I'm honestly never able to push on this segment. Because it's a downhill. I know I can go aggressive.
Like you said, okay,
But I'm never able to do that.
I'm going to track back. I think that's a great question. I stand corrected. What I said 1 kilometer was, I think Kemp's Corner is the wrong thing. I think that Antilia signal is the right point that you said. See, from
Yeah,
there
yeah.
itself.
From Antilla, it's about, you're
So by the time you reach that Antilia signal, right, the worst part of Peddar is over for you basically. Yes, there is a little bit of a undulation after
yes.
that, but that is something which is negotiable.
Yeah.
I would say
Yes.
coast that section. Again, I would say coast that section. Just go with the flow basically. Don't go all out,
Yeah.
but at the same time, don't be too conservative also, because this is the only section
Yep.
where you can, make up for what Arvind said. You can make up for some lost time before you hit the last 5 kilometers basically. So I would say it is a mix of both. It is a mix of caution and aggression. Caution, so that you tell yourself there are still 5 kilometers to go. Aggression, I want to make up for whatever I lost in the previous section basically. But I'm not going to overdo myself over here.
So one more thing,
Okay.
your gels have to be very, very judiciously taken. At the 32nd kilometer, please take your gel. I mean, just see how you are doing your um, electrolytes and gel strategy. But also, if you go all out after Kemp's Corner, the chances are that if you were not in all your gears throughout those 34-35 kilometers, your calves may start talking to you louder than your mind, and you don't want that, because you still have 5 kilometers to go and your mind has to be in control. So you have to protect your calves, because there will be a downhill. You've done few undulating stretches in the previous segments. And you still have 5 more kilometers starting once you get out of Babulnath, right? And that is a marine drive. So
Exactly.
Karthik, I'll pick up from here. Also from Marine Drive is the real party that starts, right? You will be in a party, a jamboree, where you will see people screaming your names. People actually may also want to run alongside with you to take you for the next 500 meters, right? Especially if somebody is wanting to
Yes.
do a sub 4 marathon, a debutant, right? So go ahead, be and be welcoming for your own self, right? Because they are last 5 kilometers, people are around you cheering you. And then, if everything till now you've done as per precision, this is your segment. You're going to crack it, you're going to ace it, doesn't matter, don't bother. Only thing is that you have to have patience till here, because now the 5 kilometers, all those 2 seconds, 3 seconds that you gave away while climbing a hill, or it was undulating, or it was a lot of crosswind, headwind, tailwind, you'll be able to start making up. Now the math will actually come to play, right? So if you want the math to be in your favor, ensure the mind, your calf, and your core is aligned and syncing.
I think that's a great point. And to add to, I think Aditi's covered most of this section. To add to what she said, here is where somewhere on this section is where you will have a dedicated lane which will kind of separate out the half marathoners and the full marathoners. So that's a good thing. You don't really have to duck and weave around half marathoners, right? You will have your own lane. And like we said, take this section 1 kilometer at a time. And like Aditi said, you'll have a lot of crowd
Yes.
support. You'll have a lot of bands on this section basically. You'll have the
Agreed.
Navy bands. You'll have a lot of private college kids basically. There are a lot of colleges also in the initial part of this section. There are the gymkhanas, right? So you'll have a lot of distraction on this section. Distract yourself positively until you reach, again, the point, the checkpoint. There are 2 checkpoints on this section. Once you cross 1 kd, you should tell yourself it's just the final push is after 1 kd basically. That we are showing you 1 kd on your left side. That should be your first point of you cross that, you've got this race in the bag. From there, you'll be able to see the rotating Parikrama hotel at the distance.
Yep.
And you just have to take one left, and then it's about 800 to 900 meters. Well, it's actually 1 kilometer, but we are telling you 800 to 900 meters to keep you engaged, right? So that's your first checkpoint. And then finally, Pizza by the Bay. That is where your 41st kilometer is going to
Pizza
be,
by the Bay.
right? That point of intersection where you get back onto the Veer Nariman Road, where the pointer is right now. From there onwards, it's just 1 kilometer. And trust me, it is the most painful 1 kilometer you will run in your life, basically. Every 200 to 300 meters, you will really feel it. But like Aditi said, if you've done the fueling well, if you've paced yourself sensibly, anyway, by this point, you are beyond all that, basically. Here, it is just hanging in there till the finish line. Arvind, you want to add anything on this particular section?
Yeah, so the last time I ran the marathon, this was the toughest section, both because it is the last few kilometers and you're almost done, and it's extremely hard because of that. And then other important thing is that this is the section I think you will feel the heat, especially if you're a slow runner. This is fully open and there's a lot of sun, so it will make it even harder for the slow runners because of that. But good thing is that this is a section where you see a lot of sprinklers. They have this uh, uh,
Mm.
Cool
what is it
zones,
called?
cool
Cool
zones,
zones,
cool
cool
zones,
zones, right?
cool
So you
zones.
can run through a lot of sponges everywhere. Uh, there's a good amount of aid stations in this section, so I think that should help. And again, you can count down in your mind, right? These are like kilometer by kilometer, you just count down.
Mm.
Exactly. So a couple of points here. One thing, of course, is the
I
aid
think
stations. There is also a lot of people who will come out with a lot of things to offer. So if you feel like you want to have
mm,
something, please grab that. And like Arvind said, tell yourself, I didn't come this far to walk. I didn't come this far to. I've come this far. It's just a matter of another 1 or 2 kilometers. Yeah, sorry, Karthik, you were saying something. Go ahead.
yeah. So I always used to get a goggles only for this segment of the race. But I think this year that starts banned from the
Man,
coastal roads.
sure.
But largely for my pace, at least my pace, I used to always require sunglasses here just to mentally cool me down, saying, it's not that hot right now. But this is the pace. Sorry, this is the segment. As a Mumbaiker, I have my lot of friends here. Like I keep hearing, "Hey Karthik, hey Karthik." I don't even get to see their face, who are they? But hey, thanks. Like so, if you're a Mumbaiker and if you are you are a quite a known runner from the community, you'll have a lot of support here, especially from the runners who have completed the half marathon race. Like
Exactly.
they will be there in the last 1 kilometer, and they are gonna have your back. Like they might not be able to run with you, but they will make sure you actually sprint to the finish line, especially in the last 400 meters.
Exactly.
That's that's the best thing I experienced in the last segment of the
So
race. Otherwise, this is my second most hated segment of the race. I just feel that the marine drive is never ending whenever I'm
yeah,
running.
yeah. I think that's one thing. That's a good point. Looks like a never-ending section, especially around that turnaround point is
Yeah.
where you will see runners from other cities also, the people who've completed their half marathon and all, who will all be lined up on the divider
Yes.
basically, calling out your
Yes.
names, soak the energy, run this final 1 kilometer, and then you come to the finish line. The finish line this time is slightly, that's one last change basically. Instead of the OCS chalk where it usually ends, the full marathon this time is ending near the Bombay Gymkhana. I don't think that's much of
Yes.
a change basically. You will figure it out when you reach
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And I think it's been made to make your job easy after finishing the marathon, right? Based on feedback. So yeah, guys, in a nutshell, this is what it is. To very, very quickly summarize, we are already around over the time. First 13 kilometers, hold yourself back basically, right? Get into a rhythm. 13 till about 24, put your head down, run, bunch up with a couple of runners, get to the 24th kilometer feeling strong. 24 to 30, no man's land, start getting into your marathon pace, reach the 30th kilometer feeling good. 30 till about 35, 36, sufferfest, just get through it. 36 to 42, you've done all the hard work. If you've done it well, this is the section where you should be able to kind of at least get to the finish line feeling that with a good sense of accomplishment. This is what we have to offer in a nutshell. Guys, any leaving thoughts, any parting thoughts?
I have one important question. What would be the gel strategy if in a minute, with all the new addition of segments? Like earlier, I used to exactly do say 2 kilometers before the Peddar, I used to take one gel. But now that actually changes because I need to also accommodate the coastal road incline. So how do we adjust our fueling strategy?
So I think it's important that be careful with any advice on gels from us at this point because you, as a runner, would have already trained with certain strategy. But that said, if you're used to taking the gels and if you're okay with flexibility in terms of how you want to take the gels, few things I can say again, please feel to ignore the advice because we already trained in certain
Or
method.
take it with a pinch of salt.
Take it with a pinch of salt as well. So few things. I think I think in my view, if you are used to take caffeine gels, one caffeine gel around this mark, okay? Caffeine will
Worli
take at
Dairy.
least 15 minutes to kick off, 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes half an hour.
Mm.
I think this is the best point to take the caffeine gel, in my view, and which will actually sail you through this whole section and then keep you in a good frame of mind. I think that would be one. But other than that, rest of the gel
Yeah,
strategy should follow as is, nothing more than that.
See, also factor the fact that
got it.
the earlier you get in the carbs in your system, the better it's going to serve you later in the race, right? With so much of variation in course, weather, humidity, et al., your system is going to be in a, by the time you reach Peddar, I don't think you're going to be in a shape where your system is going to be accepting fluids or even something in the form of a gel so easily, right? So it's better to kind of have whatever is your strategy. Generally, we have a once every 6 kilometers or once every 7 kilometer kind of a cadence. Like Aditi said, be religious about it, be precise about it. But the earlier you can get those gels and carbs in, the better it's going to serve you in the later parts of the race where you really need it, basically, right? Because after Peddar, I don't think your system is going to be in a place where it can actually ingest stuff, basically. In fact, I've had situations where I've done projectile vomiting on that dedicated course in the last 2 kilometers, basically. So yeah.
So just one thing, that you have already trained for this race. This is your last week of taper. You have trained, so execute your training and run like it is your best training, right? Race. Don't get intimidated by what people are saying right now. Take the tips that you think will help you, leave the rest.
Mm.
This is an informational video. Take all the things that you think will help you, rest, leave it, and be precise. This is not an emotional war. This is something that is going to be a symphony of yours of 42 kilometers, right? So be precise what kind of music you want to play at which kilometer.
So on that musical note, I think we would want to wish all the TMM runners, full or half, runners, all the very best. A new course, a new year, a new course, and increasing registration numbers really bode very well for TMM and for the Indian running scene at large. Thank you so much.
All right, all the best.
All the best, everyone. Thank you so much.